West Denver. Sleep deprived and heavily caffeinated.
All right, let's do this then.
This is the Jeff and Bill Show.
I don't agree with that.
They don't always agree, but hey, at least they have coffee.
Coffee.
And each other.
I love you, man.
God help us.
I'm going to bless him. We need all the help we can get.
Now here's Jeff Hunt and Bill Thorpe. The Jeff and Bill Show on News Talk 710 KNUS.
Well, it's 9 a.m. in the Mile High City on this Thursday, June 19th, 2025. Good morning, Denver, Colorado. You've tuned into the Jeff and Bill Show, News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm your co-host, Jeff Hunt, bringing you the freshest insights, hottest takes from the right, left, and center, along with Bill Thorpe. And joining us this hour, absolutely one of my favorite organizations, Nicole and I, monthly donors to Save the Storks, the CEO, live in studio with us, Diane Ferraro. You're not going to want to miss this conversation. And we all know this, Colorado, the most radically pro-choice state in the nation. And oftentimes, my wife and I talk about this all the time. What does God have us doing in this state? They're not electing anybody that's pro-life. So political leadership's out. How do you influence culture? And being at the very front, the tip of the spear with regards to saving human life. That's what Save the Storks does. You're not going to want to miss this conversation. This could very well save a life. Great company, great organization, Save the Storks. Storks, you're not going to want to miss it. But now it's time for News and Comment with Blake Olson.
Blake Olson.
Blake Olson, News and Comment.
Good Thursday morning. It's 76 and sunny outside. Beautiful day for Juneteenth in Denver. Expecting a high of 95 today. The 7-10 5-day forecast is coming up. Our top story.
Look, they should have made the deal. I had a great deal for them. They should have made that deal. 60 days, we talked about it, and in the end, they decided not to do it, and now they wish they did it. And they want to meet, but it's a little late to meet, but they want to meet, and they want to come to the White House. They'll even come to the White House, so we'll see. I may do that, but it's a shame it could have been done the easy way.
DJT still contemplating U.S. offensive strikes against Iran. Following another meeting with his national security team, 47 indicated he'll hold off on making a decision until 1 second before it's due. Trump huddled with his advisors Wednesday, weighing next steps in the Iran-Israel conflict. As far as a divide with Trump supporters like Tucker, DJT addressed that.
No, my supporters are for me. My supporters are America first and make America great again. My supporters don't want to see Iran have a nuclear weapon. Tucker's a nice guy. He called and apologized the other day because he thought he said things that were a little bit too strong, and I appreciated that. And Ted Cruz is a nice guy. I mean, he's been with me for a long time. I'd say once the race was over, he's been with me ever since, right? But very simple. If they think that it's okay for Iran to have a nuclear weapon, then they should oppose me. But nobody thinks it's okay. People that I don't want to fight either. I'm not looking to fight. But if it's a choice between fighting and them having a nuclear weapon, you have to do what you have to do. Maybe we won't have to fight. Don't forget, we haven't been fighting. We add a certain amount of genius to everything, but we haven't been fighting.
An Iranian missile hit a hospital in southern Israel last night. A judge is allowing the federal case against terrorist Mohammed Solomon to move forward. In the meantime, downtown Boulder CEO Bettina Swigger says city leaders are focused on the future of the area after the attack.
If there is such another event, which we dearly hope it does not ever happen again, that we're able to respond quickly and compassionately in order to make downtown continue to feel safe.
Solomon was in court in Denver Wednesday after being charged with committing a hate crime after the June 1st attack. The preliminary hearing lasted about 2 hours with lawyers arguing over the reason Solomon targeted a group of marchers calling for the release of Israeli hostages being held in Gaza. On Truth Social, about a half hour ago, DJT says, too late Jerome Powell is costing our country hundreds of billions of dollars. He is truly one of the dumbest and most destructive people in the government, and the Fed board is complicit. Europe has 10 cuts, and we have had none. They have had 10 cuts, and we have had none. We should be at 2.5 points lower and save billions of dollars of all of Biden's short-term debt. We have low inflation, too late, that's what he calls Powell, too late Powell, an American disgrace. Speaking of a disgrace, a Highlands Ranch minister, Richard Merskin, was sentenced to 16 years of life in prison, 16 years to life in prison after he was found guilty of sexual assault on a child under the age of 15 a couple of days ago. DA George Brockler on with Jeff and Billy last hour to talk about the case, and just absolutely sick.
Dad puts me on his lap, and he becomes aroused as a precursor to some things. He then, when they confront him with this, he tells them, yeah, well, I'm a guy. That happens to every guy. So Danielle, who's got 2 girls, by the way, and is married to a police officer and all this, she starts going around the office asking every dad of daughters, saying, hey, this guy's saying this. Does that sound true at all? And every single guy was like, what the no? Ever? Never? That's crazy talk?
Well, you got that right. Thank God for George Brockler and the great people working with him. It's just sickening. Mexico is being hit by Hurricane Eric. It's now a Category 3 storm, posing a major threat to Mexico's Pacific coast. The National Hurricane Center says the storm made landfall earlier today in the state of Oaxaca. Thunder. Could they win the NBA championship tonight in Game 6 in Indy? We shall see. The Pacers will try to fight back. Here are the Patriots. Jeff and Bill coming up. 75 in Arvada, 74 in Englewood, 76 in Denver. Jeff and Billy continue. Blake Olson News Talk, 710 KNUS.
The heat is on. Denver in the Front Range will have some of the hottest temperatures of the year so far, starting today and lasting through the weekend. Low to mid-90s and sunny. Mid-60s tonight, hot. 90s to near 100 for Friday. Mid to upper 90s Saturday. Low to mid-90s Sunday. Cooling off, just 70s and low 80s by Monday. Dry until Sunday night and Monday when thunderstorms return. Weather sponsored by Colorado's Best Roofing, reminding you to protect your home from the harsh Colorado weather and schedule your free, no-obligation roof inspection today at roofingcolorado.com. That's roofingcolorado.com. Meteorologist Don Day in the 710 KNUS Weather Center.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. If you're like me and pro-life, you have big concerns about the direction of Colorado. It's become radically pro-choice. There's no level of negotiating this policy issue. A child in Colorado right now, just seconds before it's born, fully developed, can be murdered. And it's heartbreaking. And those of us time and time again who have gone down to the state capitol, we've protested, we've shown up at the March for Life. That's all important. I get it. But the pro-life movement requires people on the ground doing real service right there, caring for somebody that's facing a pregnancy that they don't know if they want or not, and they're trying to figure it out. What about the dad? What about that actual work of caring for people? That happens with a great organization that my wife and I support on a monthly basis. That's Save the Storks. And right now, in studio with us, Diane Ferraro, CEO of Save the Storks. Diane, thank you so much for coming by.
Thank you so much for having me today. I'm so excited to be here to share the exciting updates about Save the Storks and what we're doing to empower women to choose life here in Colorado.
Yeah, let's start first with what It does. What does Save the Storks do? And then we'll get into your background, how you got connected with this great organization. But tell us what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So Save the Stork started back in 2012 as a mobile medical ministry. So we are known for our what we call stork buses. They are state-of-the-art, really gorgeous women's health clinics on wheels. And we have 107 of these now across the United States, which is amazing. And I can't wait to tell you what we're doing here in Colorado in a minute. But when a woman steps on board one of our mobile medical clinics, she's treated with love and compassion. She is given an opportunity to create a story of hope and empowerment for her own future and choose life for her baby. There are medical professionals on board. They're all trained. They go through our national partner program. And 4 out of 5 times when a woman steps on board the mobile medical clinic, sees the ultrasound and hears the heartbeat of her baby, she chooses life. That's 80% of the time. So this is truly a life-saving mission and ministry.
And so these mobile units just kind of roam the city? Are they like Waymos? I mean, do you all set up in particular locations? How do people find out about them? That type of thing.
Yes, they are actually very strategically placed. So we work with pregnancy centers and churches around the country, and we do a very intensive, really research before we even assign a mobile medical clinic. We want to make sure that first we have a trained staff that can own and operate that mobile medical clinic. We want to make sure that we have sidewalk advocates in that area. We want to make sure there's a strong digital and marketing strategy behind it. We want to make sure that we're reaching women where they're at when they are facing that decision to choose life or death for their baby. And it's so important now, especially in this world of, everyone's doing online searches. Planned Parenthood's spending $25,000 a day on advertising to reach women and direct them not only to the abortion clinics, but to order the abortion pill online. That's where mobile medical clinics come into play.
This is Diane Ferraro. She's the CEO of Save the Storks, live in studio with us. So somebody steps into these mobile medical units, and what happens? And is it like a white van with no windows on it? Give us a sense of what they're like. And the services they provide.
Yeah, these mobile medical clinics are all built. They're custom built. We partner with builders around the United States. And they really are a women's health clinic on wheels. So it's where a woman does step on board. There's medical professionals on board. There's a sonographer, a licensed nurse. Everything is run by a medical director, a licensed medical director. And when she steps on board, she shares her medical history. We get to know a little bit about her. If she thinks she's pregnant, we want to confirm with the pregnancy test, and then we will do an ultrasound. And all of this is at no charge to that woman. We hear time and time again that when a woman steps on board a Save the Storks mobile medical clinic, she says that is nicer than any women's health clinic, any OBGYN office she's ever been in. And that's where we want to treat her with just an excellent experience.
That is so wonderful, because I think that's how we win in this issue in Colorado. As somebody who's been a part of every political battle and legislative battle down at the state capitol over this issue for the last decade in Colorado, I remember thinking, and my wife and I were talking about this, my wife's a pro-life spokesperson for Focus on the Family, so this is the big issue in our house. This is what we were both motivated by. It's why we're in the conservative movement, more so than anything else, is to advance the sanctity of life and to save lives. And my wife and I were just going, we've got to outserve Planned Parenthood. We've got to make it a better experience for people, better care, cleaner, more trustworthy, more compassionate than Planned Parenthood. We have to win this on the front lines for the battle of actual human beings in the state, not just because by the time it gets to the state capitol and we're trying to deal with it there, that's way downstream for where we actually need to. We just need to serve women better than Planned Parenthood. Sounds exactly what Save the Storks does.
Absolutely, Jeff. You might have seen the New York Times article a few months ago. They actually did an expose on Planned Parenthood, how filthy a lot of those centers are. I don't even want to call them a clinic, because when a woman goes in there, they are not treated with a wonderful experience. They are really rushed into an abortion, and they're not always clean. They're not taken care of. Those workers are there. Really, they think they're doing something good for women, but it's the opposite. They are hurting women, not just for the woman there in the office, but for future generations. Women are, we know that women are regretting their abortions. Oftentimes they don't come out with that story of their abortion until 27 years after the abortion took place, because Planned Parenthood keeps telling them it's your body, it's your choice, it's women's health care. They try to own reproductive care, but truly it's the pro-life movement that's offering real choice and real women's health care. And Save the Storks is really leading the charge in this with our national partner program. We're helping pregnancy centers around the United States become true health care clinics. We like to say that we are offering real choice. We have a national medical director who's phenomenal. We have a national medical advisory board that is advising these pregnancy centers. So when that woman does encounter a medical professional through Save the Storks, whether it's on our mobile medical clinic or in a pregnancy health clinic or brick and mortar, she is getting a true healthcare experience, and she is learning about not only her baby, but she's also learning about the choice to parent or the choice to adopt. Abortion should never be considered an option. Never. It's not, obviously it takes the life of the child, but it's harmful for an entire lifetime to that poor mom.
This is Diane Ferraro. She's the CEO of Save the Storks, live in studio. It's important for people to understand this, too, that Planned Parenthood is a business. They make money off every
billions of dollars, $3 billion. They have the Gates Foundation, Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett's given billions over the last several years. George Soros, of course. There are corporations, I don't know if your audience is aware of this, but Zillow, right? We all love Zillow to go shopping for houses. Yeah. They're giving employees who live in Texas or other states where abortions are prohibited, they're giving them up to $7,500 a year for abortion tourism. So that means Zillow employees can travel from Texas to Colorado, get $7,500, and sadly, as you mentioned, they can abort their baby up until the time of birth here in this state of Colorado.
So Planned Parenthood is, and we've seen this over and over again, not interested in caring for you post-abortion. They kind of hand you the pills or provide the procedure and kick you out the door because they've got other people to serve. I mean, they're doing about 70 abortions a day in Colorado, according to my math. But you're just a widget, and they hope you come back.
Right. It's a machine. Yeah. And the sad fact is the abortion pill now, women are stockpiling this. In California, we know that women have them in their drawers. I think California was trying to distribute like over, 300,000 prescriptions before the Trump administration took office because they wanted women to have these at the ready. We know that now over 70% of abortions are taking place with the chemical abortion pill. This means that women are now not going to an abortion clinic and having a doctor perform that surgical abortion. They're becoming their own abortionist. What's the PTSD going to look like? What's the suicide rate going to look like? Depression, anti-anxiety pills. I mean, this is going to be a tragedy in our country, and we're already seeing it from women who are being told that it's just a heavy period, it's a clump of cells. No, Jeff, you and I both know that is a baby. The sad thing is, too, Planned Parenthood is in such a rush to take a woman's, $300, $700, whatever it might be. When it's a late-term abortion, we've seen it's up to $20,000. Yeah. So imagine a woman who's forking over this cash, expecting medical treatment. She doesn't even need an ultrasound in many cases. So she doesn't know how far along she is. She's taking that abortion pill. We've heard of women delivering a dead baby in their toilet that might be 12 weeks, 16 weeks, has arms, has legs. It's a baby. These women are harmed for life. And the Planned Parenthood is not offering post-abortion counseling. It's the pro-life movement. It's amazing pregnancy centers. It's organizations like Deeper Still that are providing abortion healing retreats for women and for men, because men are feeling the PTSD as well, because oftentimes they're paying for it or they're driving the girlfriend or wife to the abortion clinic.
This is Diane Ferraro. She's the CEO of Save the Storks, live in studio. So Save the Storks provides these mobile units. They provide this care. It's professional, it's medical, it's clean, it's compassionate. But the critique oftentimes about the pro-life movement is, you guys only care about the baby up until it's born. Talk about the services Save the Storks provides in partnership with great organizations like Catholic Charities to provide care and resources for folks well after the child's been born.
Yes. I mean, if you have been kind of listening in and out up to this point, please listen intently here. We need churches to get involved. Save the Storks, in addition to our mobile medical clinics, we have an incredible church and community partnership. We have a program we launched in Southern California with Orange County Rescue Mission, Mariners Church, and Horizon Pregnancy Center, where we're bringing what we call the 8 pillars of care to women. So when that woman steps on board, here's her baby's heartbeat, has the ultrasound, she might say, but I'm in an abusive relationship. I have 2 kids. I don't have daycare options for another. I'm having trouble finding a job. I need financial support. We have this holistic approach in Southern California that is addressing all of that woman's needs so she can choose motherhood and choose it with confidence and be a wonderful mother. We really feel motherhood is the ultimate luxury. And I'm so excited to announce on your show, Jeff, that we are bringing this program to Denver, to the Denver metro area. We've been working with Catholic Charities and Marisol Health for the last couple of years. The mobile medical clinic has been built. It has a separate women's health clinic and a counseling office. So we can talk to that woman. Again, unlike Planned Parenthood does, we're able to talk to her, find out what her needs are, and get her the support she needs so she can thrive as a mother right here in Denver Metro. This is something that hasn't taken place before, and we are going to expand this program, but we need support from other churches across the state, in the mountains, all 4 borders really, or all 4 corners of the state. We need support. We want to bring maternal child health care to every corner of Colorado. There are so many maternal health care deserts here, Jeff, and if the church will step up and really say, what can we do? Do we have a Sunday school that's empty 6 days a week? What if we open this up to single moms so they can have childcare? What if some landlords out there have an extra apartment? There's a wonderful ministry here that helps women for the first 2 years get an apartment. The donors help pay the rent. They have housing for themselves and their children while they're getting a job, while they're building up their savings account. So this is really teaching women to fish, right? And not just take handouts from the government.
Right. Wow, and it empowers the church, it empowers civil society, all of that taking place. So lots of options for churches there. How do they connect with Save the Storks? What's that process?
Yeah, churches can go to our website at savethestorks.org. We have a church landing page. We have incredible programs. We encourage all churches or even church members, if you want to learn more about us, that we have a free start course. It's at startcourse.org, or you can click on the link on the church page. This is really an informed training with videos and just advice on how to reach that pregnant woman in your community, in your church. We have a what we call Start Course 201, and it's really trauma-informed care. So that's for church counselors, people who maybe go on a deeper level with church members who are coming to them for counseling. So we encourage all of your listeners to check that out and share that with your pastoral team at church. We also have an incredible program called Dare to Be a Dad. We partnered with Matt Hammett. He was the lead singer of Sanctus Real, Dove Award, Grammy nominated. He had this really God-sized dream put on his heart. He has a little boy who was born with half of a heart. He was told to abort. He said, "I'm a dad. I was married. We could afford to raise a child. We had insurance." And his little boy is now 13 years old, and he goes on tour. But he wanted to create something so other men who are told, hey, just abort the baby. You don't need that headache. He created Dare to Be a Dad. It's a series of videos. It's on the YouVersion app, so you can go to your Bible app and listen, watch those videos. And now he's creating a new 30-day series that you can go to our website and subscribe to. So it's really meant to encourage men who can be mentors to other dads. And it's meant for dads who might find themselves, with the girlfriend who says, "Hey, I'm pregnant." If men step up and say, "I am with you in this," 79% of the time that woman will choose life for her baby. So dads, you do have a voice, and the church can really empower men.
The biggest voice.
Yes.
That's what studies have found over and over again, is that the biggest influence as to whether or not a woman decides to keep the child or not is the dominant male voice in her life, whether it's her father or her boyfriend or the guy, the husband in her life. What he says in response to that news is going to change more than anything else, whether or not that woman chooses to keep the child.
100%. And what has Planned Parenthood said? It's your body, your choice.
Right. They carve the guy out.
They carve him out. They've been doing that for over 50 years, Jeff. And We know that men have gone to Planned Parenthood with their girlfriends wanting to support them. They get locked out. They can't even go in the lobby. So what does that tell you? They know, Planned Parenthood knows if the man's in that office, there's a higher chance that she will choose life for her baby. If he's not there, she feels isolated. She feels that no one's with her. Yeah. That's how they convince her to abort that baby. So this is where, again, the pro-life movement has always included the father. There's amazing, dad classes at pregnancy centers across the United States. And this Dare to Be a Dad course for men is going to be truly life-saving because, again, if we can get men in the church to step up and mentor these young men, they will feel empowered to choose life.
That's Diane Ferraro. She's the CEO of Save the Storks. She's live in studio. Support them today. My wife and I are monthly donors to Save the Storks. We've known them for years. Wonderful organization. SaveTheStorks.com. It's not an environmental group, even though sometimes it gets confused as one. But Save the Storks is about protecting innocent life. Do you have a sense of how many babies you all have saved over the years?
Yeah, we estimate it's been approximately 15,000 babies' lives have been saved. Yes, and we know the number's much higher. Isn't that incredible? I come from a story of a life that was saved too, Jeff, so I can share that with you. But being adopted, every life, if we just save one life, that's so worth this ministry. But we are now partnering with organizations around the country. We have 15,000 resources on our For Every Woman website that is that really client-facing website so a woman can choose life and choose it abundantly. But we know that every life is precious, and when that mom can choose life for her baby, she's also making a decision for herself that she is going to be a mom. I mean, she already is a mom at the moment that child is conceived, but we want her to really feel good about it and feel that this is a decision that is going to impact future generations, of course. And that's why our ministry is so important.
I wasn't expecting to hit me so hard. 15,000 lives. I mean, I knew it was a impressive number, but...
And you had a hand in helping. You and Diane both had a hand in helping make that happen. Understand that those checks that you and your wife are writing, and that anybody else is writing, helps that. I know it's a small thing, but yeah.
And I guess what hits me is my wife didn't come from a perfect family situation, right? She talks a little bit about it, but not ideal. And Dad kind of in and out of the situation, and a lot of heartbreak. And some of the people I love the most have come from very hard beginnings. Mm-hmm. And so when I hear 15,000, I think about the great contribution that is to our society. You don't have to be born into the most perfect situation to become a great gift to your neighbors and to the community. And you have a similar situation, right?
Yes,
Tell
Jeff.
us about that.
Yeah, I was adopted as a baby. I'd always felt extra blessed. My adopted parents were older. It was the late 60s. They had always just instilled in me that I was chosen, right? I was adopted. I was special. So I almost had a little bit of a puffed upness, if you will, in elementary school. When I was 8 years old, my adopted mom died. I lost her to cancer. And I had that longing in my heart then. I really wanted a mom, right? I knew as a little girl I lost something that I shouldn't have lost so young. And so I think that caused me to think more and more about my birth mom. My adopted dad was incredible. He was from England, very old school, grew up during the Depression. He was 50 years old when my mom died. So picture this in the 70s, 50 years old. He was a plumber. So out of the house at 5:15 in the morning to go to the job site. So my brother and I were latchkey kids. But we learned and we knew he loved us, but he also wasn't that, emotional, feel-good household that, we're better at today. But it was when I was 26 years old that I met my birth mom for the first time. And she had 4 boys before she gave birth to me and then had 2 boys after. She was married in a bad marriage. And from what I heard from her, she actually had a one-night stand. It was in Orange County, California. And I shared at a stork ball, I think that you were at in Washington, D.C., where I shared my story. Hypothetically, my birth mom could have easily driven to Mexico 2 hours south and aborted me. Back then, that was what women could do in California. It was a couple of years ago she saw that video. She called me and said, "Diane, I need to tell you something." She goes, A friend of mine was also pregnant. They weren't planned pregnancies, and she said, let's just go to Mexico and abort the babies. No one will ever know. We'll be back by dinner. She goes, I did that. I drove to Mexico and I went to the abortion clinic. And Jeff, her friend went through with the abortion, and my birth mom changed her mind, drove back to Santa Ana and found an adoption attorney. So I share that story now with women who feel that they have no hope. That, I mean, imagine being married with 4 little boys. Like, it was not acceptable to be pregnant with another man's child, especially back then. Yeah. And she made the hard decision to carry me for 9 months, and I am eternally grateful to her for that. And she now sees this journey I'm on as really part of her story as well, because if she did not choose life, we wouldn't be here at Save the Storks. And it really is an effort with our ministry, with our staff, with our board of directors, and with donors, that we are able to now empower women just like my birth mom to choose life. And in fact, I was on Instagram one day and I shared a post about my birth mom and my adopted mom, and shared how they were both brave and amazing women. And I don't have a lot of Instagram followers, and there's no reason why the algorithms would show my post to a young woman. Well, a young woman in Hawaii who was in the Army found out she was pregnant. She was 19. She was told by her commanding officer, oh, well, when she said she was pregnant, he said, well, you're not married. We need you. We're taking you to Planned Parenthood for an abortion. She sat in the Planned Parenthood office in Honolulu waiting to be called, obeying her commanding officer, scrolling through Instagram, and this was only a God miracle, that she saw my post and said, you're strong enough, you're brave enough, you can do this. And she read the story about my birth mom. She walked out of that clinic and chose life. So think about the power of social media now. I mean, like, for sure the church, but even just sharing posts from pro-life organizations.
And building that culture of life.
Yes, build a culture of life, share stories of hope and empowerment. Motherhood is not a negative thing. Sure, it's hard, but motherhood is the most beautiful luxury, and we need to bring back really how important motherhood is in this country, and fatherhood. But again, we're focused on so many material things on this earth, and we're a very selfish society in this country. Women think that choosing motherhood is going to ruin everything. It's not. It just enhances everything. It brings so much beauty to a life. And sure, it's going to be a little challenging, but you can still go to college. You can still, fulfill all of your dreams, and you can, have your baby and have your children, and God's going to take care of you.
Well, there's not a single one of us in human history that chose the circumstances of our conception. There's not a single, whether you're born into a good family, you're an affair, you're whatever it might be. Not a human being has ever been able to choose the circumstances of their conception.
Right.
And what I'm always amazed at is how wonderful people like you, like my wife, come out of non-ideal circumstances and go on to make a big impact. I mean, Steve Jobs.
He was adopted. You wouldn't have your iPhone. You wouldn't be on your Apple right now if it wasn't for his mother choosing life.
Exactly right. And so we as a society think that somehow those circumstances warrant a death penalty for an innocent human being, when so much good can come out of it. And I'm so grateful for folks like you all and the great work of Save the Storks. By the way, you can support, my wife and I, monthly donors and proud supporters of Save the Storks. Go to SaveTheStorks.com, SaveTheStorks.com right now. Give just a little bit. A one-time gift of just a little bit is helping save human lives outside the Planned Parenthood here in Aurora, Colorado. They're providing that alternative, and the alternative they are providing is better care, more compassionate care, longer-term care than anything Planned Parenthood is doing, and they're saving lives, and you never know. I didn't know it was going to get me this hard. I was like, Diane's coming in. Woo, we're going to have fun. I love Save the Storks. But you just never know what that life can go on to do. So we'll continue this conversation. I need to take a break. We're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's talk leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. The funny thing is, I talk pro-life stuff all the time.
I know you
I mean,
do.
I like this, but this, holy cow, is getting me. We've got live
This is emotional.
Exactly.
Introduce our guest. And I'll tell you.
Well, it's because it's life saved, and I'm just. It's so hard in Colorado sometimes to be pro-life because you just feel like you're losing all the time, and it's the biggest issue in it's what gets my heart, my wife's heart going. And to hear 15,000 lives have been saved as a result of the good work of Save the Storks. The CEO, Diane Ferraro's live in studio with us. But look at some of these text messages.
Yeah, now before you get to those, because I know there's going to be really emotional, is that there are so many times in the conversation that those on the pro-life side ask about what can I do. Jeff, oftentimes you express the idea of being lost inside the sea of Colorado, that everything seems to be pushing against you. Here is something that is tangible. Here is something that is real. Here is something that, based on what you're available to carve out of your family budget, they're not asking for anything huge. They're asking for whatever fits with your lifestyle. Whatever can fit inside of your family budget, they will take it and they will directly save lives. If you feel like you're lost, if you feel like you need to make a difference in Colorado, Save the Storks. They're saving lives.
SaveTheStorks.com. Right there, you can donate. Oh, here we go. All right, Joe, you're going to get me on this one. Buddy Joe Pepper texted in. Love this topic with Save the Storks. My daughter was an attempted abortion that went full term. I adopted her when she was 3 weeks old. She later went into ministry of helping special needs kids like herself. She was special needs because of the neurological damage from the attempted abortion. God used her in a powerful way before he took her home at the age of 21. She spoke at our Capitol in Colorado twice about the sanctity of life. Joe, thank you for sharing that, my friend.
Yeah, thank you.
5114. Good morning, gentlemen. Appreciate Jeff's commitment to being pro-life and his passion and concern playing through the radio. Thank you to the Storks mission to save life. Love the show. This is why I listen. The open debates, differing views and opinions is healthy and meaningful. Thank you to KNUS and Jeff and Bill Show. Thank you, James.
Yeah, thanks.
It's very
James.
kind of you, brother.
And thanks to Diane for taking the time to spend with us.
Yes.
Because this is an amazing, amazing program. And for me, regardless of the thing that I keep coming at is regardless if you're on pro-life or pro-choice, what I see with Save the Storks is a program that is offering potential mothers more information and more perspective. And I can't see, regardless of what side you're on, how that is possibly a negative. I can't understand why the conversations that Diane is talking about that their workers have with the potential mothers is in any way, shape, or form a negative. We always talk about making sure you get access to all the information you can and make an informed, educated choice. That's all this is that they're not out there and they're not screaming at women as they're going into abortion clinics. They're not sitting there and throwing rocks at them. They're just saying, let's give you some more information. Take a look at this. This is where the baby is, and you make the choice. What more can anyone on either side of the aisle ask for? I can't imagine why you would oppose this in any way, shape, or form. This is amazing work. It deserves our support.
Thank you, Bill. Diane, talk about, again, how churches can get involved and why, especially in Colorado, it's so important, why you need to partner with churches.
Yeah, thank you, Jeff, and thank you for those kind words, Bill. I'm so honored to be here and representing the good work we do and our team does around the country. So here in Colorado, you've hit the nail on the head. It is discouraging. It is depressing. It's sad. I come from California, and Colorado is undoubtedly the most pro-abortion state in America. We even heard from our mutual friend Amy that Planned Parenthood uses Colorado as a testing ground before they go out to other states with these really aggressive bills. So we need to really rise up as a church and not count on our state leaders to make decisions for us. We need to look to what Jesus would do. And at Save the Storks, we like to say, what would Jesus do meeting that woman at the well? We know that he met that woman at the well with love and compassion, that woman who was about to be stoned. He wasn't there to judge her or harm her. He was there to say, I'm here for you. He wanted to hear her story, and then he put her on a new path. And that's what we do at Save the Storks. We want to put her on a path, and our mission is to create a story of hope and empowerment for every woman facing an unplanned pregnancy. And that's where the church has come alongside us. You know, a woman may feel that the church is going to shun her, but again, Jesus did not shun that woman. Did you know that it's an estimated number in the church, 40% of women in the church have had an abortion, and they haven't told anyone? The pastors are afraid to speak about it. And I can understand in Colorado where that fear might set in. But this is a scriptural issue. This is an issue of human rights. I mean, we talk about, social justice issues. Pro-life is the biggest issue in our country right now. We need to stand up for women. We need to stand up for those preborn babies. So pastors, I just encourage you, whatever level you are in the church, youth pastor, senior pastor, if you're a woman's leader, talk about this issue. Bring Save the Storks in to talk about it. We have some incredible speakers. Use our START course. Go to our Dare to Be a Dad program. Matt Hammett is amazing. He lives in Nashville, but he loves coming out to Colorado, and he will educate the church about what it means to stand up as a dad. We need more mentors in churches. When a woman is pregnant, we want her to see that church as a safe place, one that's not going to judge or gossip about her, but really say, okay, you're pregnant, we're going to take care of you. We're going to come alongside you and show you love. And that's where those 8 pillars of care really come into play. At Mariners Church out in California, it's a massive church, but they have 50 medical professionals who volunteer to help out with our mobile medical clinic. We are doing the same thing here with Catholic Charities in Denver Metro. And if any of you are familiar with Catholic Charities, they are already serving women with excellence. They turned a convent, I think it's over in Lakewood, we toured it, into a housing for single moms. The single moms can send their other children to a private school on campus. They're getting really the best education for their children. And they have all of these free facilities while they get back on their feet. And again, these women, when they find out they're pregnant, we always say no woman wakes up in the morning thinking, I want to get an abortion. That doesn't cross her mind. That's the enemy who gets in her head and says, you can't do this. But we have a beautiful opportunity as the church and as just community members to say, look, we are going to come alongside you. We want to be there for you. Because again, when she wakes up in the morning and she's scared, or I always say at 2 a.m. and she's searching Google and she doesn't know what to do. She thinks she's pregnant or she has a positive pregnancy test. Planned Parenthood is bombarding her with ads. They are targeting her. The abortion pill. And it's interesting here in Colorado, a lot of pregnancy centers aren't allowed to advertise. So that's where Save the Stork, they're forbidden to advertise, right? It's terrible. So a woman, it's so hard for her to find life-affirming services. So as a church, if you can just let them know, let your youth group know that you are a life-affirming church. Have the local pregnancy center, something posted in your church. Let them know about the mobile medical clinic. We are bringing more mobile medical clinics to Colorado, and I encourage any church to just go to our website, get more information, and we'll connect you with the other churches in Castle Rock that are really leading this charge right now.
SaveTheStorks.com. SaveTheStorks.com. We'll wrap the show with Diane Ferraro, the CEO of Save the Storks. You're not going to want to miss it. You're listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
This is Denver's Talk Leader, News Talk 710 KNUS.
Welcome back to the Jeff and Bill Show. Live in studio with us is Diane Ferraro, CEO of Save the Storks. It's been a wonderful conversation. Thank you so much for coming in and making my day. And lots of people text messaging. Lisa in Castle Rock donating because of this conversation.
Thank you so much. It's been a real honor. And whatever side you're on, just know that Save the Storks has answers for women, and I encourage you to check us out and learn more about the work we do and how we provide real choice to women.
SaveTheStorks.com. SaveTheStorks.com. Donate and support them there today. You've been listening to The Jeff and Bill Show.
We are Denver's talk leader. This is 710 KNUS. Hey, we almost made it. Tomorrow's Friday.